Are you ready?
I was born ready.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on into episode 27 of the Stock Guy and Alex Show, the podcast covering all sorts of topics around this world: business, news, markets, money, sports. People talk about it. Stocky and I talk about it. The Stock Guy and Alex Show can be watched, listened, and viewed on YouTube and Spotify. Also, guys, follow the show on Twitter, Insta, all the other social medias. It's like, why is your house so quiet right now? Why? I thought it's normally like hectic there.
It is, man, and I'll tell you what, when the house gets quiet, I get worried. Some shit's wrong. I always know something's wrong when the house is too quiet, and it's really quiet right now. So like, I'm looking around, I'm like, what's going on? Like, who's doing something, right? Like, if the baby's quiet, the dog's quiet, somebody's doing something wrong.
Is everybody
and
there?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, they're all here. While we were doing our little break here, I did a little walk around to make sure, and it's mother-in-law's in the backyard with the baby, wife's with the dog in the other room, so it's okay, but it just concerns me. And you know, I don't know if you're very familiar with the National Lampoon's movies with Chevy Chase.
Vacation?
Okay, I get it. I totally get it now. As the dad on these road trips, bro. We took a road trip this past week, and I get it. I 100% get everything that man went through. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, the logistical fucking nightmare, and you're going to be in for this, right? Like, we finally bought a new car. We've got the SUV, everything's good to go. And the idea of getting our dog, who's a nervous wreck all the time, the baby, who's now a toddler, my wife and my in-laws, one who doesn't speak English, the other one who has medical problems, and me getting that entire logistics set up for traveling and bathroom breaks and food and this and that, and then the Airbnbs, and then the food, and then the events, and then the traveling again. I was exhausted. I was exhausted the entire time. And like, I even kind of screwed up the trip a little bit because I got so like regimented of where we need to be, when we need to be, that like when I would start to rush people, like, all right, we got to be, they would get rushed, and it was crazy. Now, they had a good time, and that's all that matters as the dad. You know, you make sure everybody has a good time, but Jesus, I was exhausted. And then I drove the 6 hours back straight after not sleeping the night before, and then was up all day and then evening, and then took the baby, who was having her cranky night. And so I was yesterday I was sick. I was actually like, physically out of it.
It sounds like it takes a vacation, obviously, from relaxing.
It did, and I had to stream today because I had to hit my hours.
But I mean, it takes it into more of an exercise and higher math. Like, you got to be tracking a lot of different things, like food quantities, timing of naps, timing of entertainment, people's attention spans.
Food is expensive when you're feeding that many people, and with inflation and everything right here. I mean, I think 35% or 40% of my entire bill for the trip was food.
Where'd you go?
We stopped in Melbourne for 2 days and then St. Augustine for 3.
And I mean, did y'all get good, like, was there any good like beach time? Is that what was going on?
Well, we did go to the beach at the end. The last day we went to the beach, and it was my daughter's first time, and she was having a blast. So that was cool, and we got to have a little beach experience there, which was fun. But we live near a beach, and we've never been. It's just it's just not one of those things where you do when you're there. But man, it was a lot of historical stuff and stuff like that. It was fun, so we had good times.
That's dope, man. We recorded the podcast live last week, so that way you could hit your hours. And then you skedaddled out of town. I saw your tweet. You said, "I'm out of here," or whatever. Today, your stream title was "I'm back." So, I mean, I'm sure it was nice getting back at least into the routine after all of that craziness. But I'm glad you got a week.
I mean, it was, like I said, it was wild. I was exhausted. I the whole time I was gone, I was thinking to myself how much money I was losing by not streaming. But let me tell you something. I almost didn't come back from vacation because yesterday or last week was the greenest week we've had in like 6 months in the market. Like, I was trading. Like, my wife was pissed. Every time we would do one of those little roadside attractions, we'd stop off or go to the rest area. I'd jump on my thing and play something. I actually made 120% return on my trading account by doing limited trading last week, and my long-term portfolio was up 25%. So I was like, fuck this, I'm never coming back. And then I came back and the market was red today. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's amazing that you go on vacation, you actually make money. But it's okay. You wouldn't be able to stay away because you also need this content.
I need the attention.
Yeah, you need this content land. You need the attention. You need the camera on. You need the people listening and that they're poking at you and you're poking back.
Says the guy who's always trying to get off stream every day.
Who, me?
I have to be the worst. I have to be the worst narcissistic streamer ever. Like every streamer, like they always talk about like the narcissism of streamers. Like they're always like in the attention. They've always got to be putting out content. They've always got to be on, and they've got to be like. And me, like I'm just looking at the clock. Like, can I get off stream already?
No,
like
I love
that's all
that.
I'm looking at.
I love it. I said a couple weeks ago that you just need the attention, and it, like an ear, like a mind worm. It's just been in your brain. It's just lived there. It's festered. It's like a little mental.
I love it because it got me thinking. Honest to God, when you said that, it didn't bother me. It was like in the moment, it was kind of like, well, fuck you, dude. No, I don't. But it got me thinking, and I was thinking to myself, holy shit, I really don't. And it made me kind of happy. I was like, like I don't need the attention. Like I love hanging out with my friends and stuff in Discord and stuff, but I can just turn it off when I want. And I stream till I'm done streaming, and then that's it. Like I post on Instagram once every 3 months just because, my agent said I need to be more on it. But that's it.
Keep in mind the context of when I said that. I was in the middle of something with D. We were playing Sea of Thieves, and you said, answer the call. So I answered. And you sort of hijacked the moment and needed to talk about that whole ranking thing on the web. So your perceived ranking.
It was content. We were talking. Somebody brought
very
it up.
Good. It was very funny.
They said, "Hey, have you seen the new Madrinas reviews?" And I said, "No."
Someone brought that up. Okay, I didn't know someone brought that up. I thought you were fishing. They said,
"Have you seen the new Madrinas reviews on 412 Coffee?" I said, "No." So I went on. There was one new review, and then as I got to the front page, I saw Disguised Toast and some other people, and I was like, wait a second. And then somebody said, haha, you're not even on the front on their website anymore. And that's how it got in. I said, fuck this. Let me call Alex right away. And that's how we have. Speaking of Madrinas and Disguised Toast, I'm not making any announcements of any type here, but can I ask you a question?
I mean, we have 60 minutes. The whole point of this is that we're asking questions, answering, going back and forth.
Do you have any sense of like loyalty or like,
No.
brand, No. Okay. Didn't think so. That answers my question. I don't even need to go any further because I'm on Twitter the other day in the middle of the night. I can't sleep. And I see your boy, DT, coming in. And I guess you guys flew him out or flew a crew out to him and did a whole like photo shoot and a whole thing for his little French toast thing. I'm thinking to myself, I've been with you for 2 years, racked up some sales, racked up some brand awareness, all that stuff like that. And when I had a flavor come out, you didn't fly me anywhere. You didn't set up a camera crew. You didn't do anything like that. You sent me a fucking blow up palm tree, a Hawaiian shirt, and told me to take pictures with my phone in my backyard.
Also, my brother dropped a dress off at your house.
So am I doing something wrong here? Do I need to be more like less available? Do I need to like treat you like a chick and ignore you to get, what is this?
Are you gonna start playing mind games with your coffee partner? You're start doing some
we're partners. We're partners. Oh, so that's one step below whatever the fuck it is with you and Toast, huh?
Partner. It's exactly how we refer to everybody that we partner with.
Wife that you've been married to for 20 years, and you got your hot, sugar baby over there that you're flying out to Dubai and shit. I got it.
I don't understand the premise of what you just said. You
100% do, and you can play ignorant all you want.
I don't understand the premise of what you just suggested. But hey, man, what's good is that most of the people in this country and most of the people in this world understood the premise of Tom Cruise's new movie, Top Gun 2, so good that it opened up to 160 million, which is great because you're planning on seeing.
Just gloss over that shit. Okay, I see.
Listen, you're a gloss over what, the whole partner conversation?
Just keep going.
Which is great because you're planning on. You have a meetup coming this weekend, right? Top Gun 2.
First ever community. I was gonna say hookup. First ever community meetup.
Don't make sure it's not a community hookup. Make sure that you're not soliciting
don't
that.
Fucking judge me.
Just make sure you're not soliciting that with your platform and
soliciting is for money. Hooking up, first of all, I'm not hooking up with any of the guys, but hooking up. I don't want monkeypox, okay? But yeah. So we're gonna do our first ever meetup. It was supposed to happen 2 years ago when Top Gun first came out, but it was supposed to come out. Then COVID happened, so there was no meetup and no Top Gun. So now we're doing it, and I want to do it in IMAX. Now, long story, I won't get into it, but I played IMAX shares, and I think IMAX shares are gonna do awesome. But I want to see an IMAX. The problem is that it's limited in IMAX and it's selling the fuck out. I mean, IMAX is, I was looking at their numbers today from a stock standpoint, and they, their average quarterly, revenue was like 20 to 30 million on a good quarter. That's already broke that internationally and domestically with Top Gun and IMAX. And it was only one weekend, and they've got Thor coming out and Jurassic Park and the new Avatar and everything like that. So I actually just invested in IMAX stock because of that. But I want to see it in IMAX. Problem is it's very limited. I don't know how many people are going to show up. And on top of that, I was like, oh, let's do the 11 p.m. screening on Saturday. Perfect, right? Late night, IMAX, Top Gun. But then I realized like my audience is older, so they probably have like wives and kids and shit. So like I don't know what to do right now.
Well, definitely stay committed to your to seeing an IMAX and just
everybody that's seen it has telling me it's as good as the original in a different way, and I'm like,
it's okay, it's better.
Leave it. You know what? Here's my thing. I'm not going with any expectations except for I love the first one because
there's a zero chance that anybody's expectations are going to ruin your experience. It's better than the first one. The first one's a great classic. Awesome. But I wasn't alive when it came out, so I didn't have the movie going experience of like, I can imagine if you're like 16.
Hey, I'm old. I get it.
I can imagine if you're like 16, you see it in theater and you're like, wow, I haven't really ever seen anything like that. And then that impression of Top Gun and the brand of that movie sticks with you. I mean, I saw it on VHS when I was like, I saw it on VHS as I grew up. I didn't even actually see it all the way through until recently. I remember it was always on in my house, but I'd see it like piecemeal. I'd see like 30 minutes at a time or an hour at a time, whatever. Actually, beginning, middle, and end, I saw it recently. But this Top Gun 2, better than the first one. See it. Stay committed to your goal of seeing it in IMAX.
Oh, I'm in IMAX stock. I have to pump my stock.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's incredible. Honestly, Top Gun 2 has the ability to save movies. This is nuts. So it opened to 160.5 million. Obviously, it had the benefit of being a holiday weekend, which is smart. But it opened to 160.5 $1 million. That was the opening box office. Tom Cruise's best opening before this was 64 million, I think.
His first ever 100 million plus opening.
This is his first ever 100 million plus. It almost crushed his previous top by 100 million. His previous top was World at War. You remember that? That like
War of the Worlds? Yeah. It was
War of the Worlds.
Movie.
War of the Worlds.
But you know what's crazy too is this beat out one of the Pirates of the Caribbean as the highest ever Memorial
Day. Yeah, so it says in a promising sign for the summer season, Paramount and Skydance's Top Gun Maverick scored the best Memorial Day opening of all time with a projected 3-day domestic haul of 126.7 million and 160.5 million for the 4 days. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End was the previous record holder with a treasure chest of 153 million according to Disney.
I think it's going to double this week because everyone likes the movie, which is going to bring more people to watch it, and the nostalgia factor, which is huge, is massive.
They just I can't wait. I wish your meetup was this previous weekend. I know you're on vacation, but I wish your meetup was this previous weekend so that way we could talk about it because it is so dope. I left the theater like completely like, oh my God, I can see movie. We can go to movie theaters again and actually be pleasantly surprised for something that isn't a superhero movie. Now, all the superhero movies have been a lot of fun. You watch those Marvel movies?
I watched some of them. I just watched like 4 months ago. I watched the Avengers Endgame for the first time.
That movie's really good. Those movies are really good. I tweeted out that Top Gun Maverick is the best theater experience since Avengers Endgame. And they say that like, this is a sign of like promising sign for the summer season. I actually just think, listen, this is a sign of a good movie. Like,
yeah, it's a good. That's all I hear about it. Is a good movie. Regardless of what you think of Tom Cruise personally, I mean, he made that movie. It was awesome. I told you the story, the sad fucking story of why I have nostalgic.
Which is obviously so sad.
So, it is what it is, but so I'm really excited to see it for those reasons too. But yeah, I think it's the perfect little meetup, thing to do. It's like movies and seeing the Top Gun. So I'm excited for it. I'm pumped. I actually glad. The reason I didn't want to do it on Memorial Day weekend is I knew it would be busy and packed. And so I'm glad I missed out on that. But to be honest with you, it might be just as packed next weekend too. So we'll see how it plays.
It's going to be because the reviews. I don't remember a movie getting this positive of reviews. A movie that's been this hyped that has a brand of a Top Gun getting this positive.
Like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes or some shit.
Yeah, with like a perfect audience score. I mean, like I said, there's nothing that I can say that's going to make you be like, oh, I went in with too good expectations.
I don't have any expectations because I actually purposely made sure that I haven't watched the trailer again since I watched it 2 years ago.
You remember when that trailer came out pre-COVID?
Bro, I had the biggest hard-on for 3 days.
That was a huge trailer in 2019 or 2020 or something like that.
Beginning of 2020, yeah.
Yeah, beginning of 2020. That trailer was huge. I remember it got it like went viral on all the socials, and then obviously the whole world shut down. And then since then, I was like, man, I wonder what the hell happened to that Top Gun movie. They just never released it. They obviously just stashed it and waited, which was way smart, because here they are.
And they did on Memorial Day weekend, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
You know.
Perfect. And this is so it says at the beginning of this article, it says that this has the opportunity, or it says in a promising sign for the summer season. I think that this is more just like, this is going to be a thing where this convinces people that, hey, you can actually go to the movies and see a movie that's good that isn't Avengers. Also, Stocky just got up and walked away. Here he is. He's back. He's back.
Yeah, I'm good. I had to get my phone charger.
Hey, what's the story again? What's the story with the headphone off the ear?
So I can hear my my baby or my wife if she needs me, if the baby if there's any problems.
But I feel like you did that before your daughter was born.
Well, I always did it because I'm a paranoid motherfucker. I mean, I'm a combat vet, so I'm always paranoid. So I always want to be able to hear what's going on around me, because I'm always like, is somebody going to break in, or is something going to happen, or is somebody going to need my help or whatever? So that was kind of the reason I did it. And now that I have the baby, it just kind of like, it just exemplifies it for me.
Go see Top Gun 2. If you haven't already, if you're listening to this, you haven't seen it.
We're not paid by Paramount.
We're not.
I just
go see it. It's amazing. Stocky's going to see it. If you guys are wanting to meet Stocky, show up to the nearest IMAX with a Tupperware full of soup, and have a good time hanging with Stocky and the fam there watching Top Gun 2. It's so good.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pumped. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the for my body. I don't know if my body's ready, but my mind is.
Edible tape invented to stop your burrito from falling apart.
That'd be good for a movie theater.
What's going on here? You sent me a link to an article, CNN.com, edible tape. Is this needed? Are people just not good at folding their damn burritos?
No, I think people just overstuff their burritos. Do it. Although, you know that guy on YouTube who always does like the most, useless inventions or whatever he does, like inventions nobody asked for. He did one where it's like a funnel that falls into like a little holder where you put a soft taco, and you eat your burrito over it, and everything that falls off falls in that tunnel and falls into a taco, and now you have a filled taco at the end.
Yeah, I saw that.
Shit was amazing.
Don't
get me wrong. But yeah, so the thing is that, we're all trying to save the planet and do all that other stuff. So everybody's like, all right, burritos are like the new thing, right? Like Chipotle stock always goes up. Chipotle did an amazing job during COVID of eating delivery costs in order to keep customer loyalty and brand loyalty, which worked out well for them, the whole 9 yards. Everybody loves fucking burritos now, okay? And the more broke you get, the more burritos are a part of your everyday life, because you get a tortilla, you throw whatever the fuck you want in it, you wrap it up, and now you have a burrito. Like, there is no such thing as a burrito purist anymore, right? Like, we have bastardized whatever a burrito used to be, and now we have every type of burrito: sushi burritos, fucking candy burritos, chocolate burritos. I mean, the Choco Taco is what was the original, like, fuck you to taco culture, and we bastardize it. If you remember Choco Tacos?
Oh, of course, dude. They're still around.
Okay.
Choco Tacos are amazing.
Yeah, but I don't go inside gas stations anymore. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't have to buy cigarettes. But the thing is that Choco Taco was the original bastardization of that, and then Taco Bell, obviously, whatever. But here's my thing: everything is a burrito. Anything can be a burrito. I could take Madrina's powder and roll it up in a burrito, and it's a fucking burrito, right? Like, that's what it is. And so my wife, when she was going through her MBA at Mizzou, she used to go to Chipotle and get a bowl, and they used to give you a free burrito tortilla with it. Mm-hmm. And she would eat half the bowl for dinner, and then the next day she would wrap it up to go as her lunch. So she was a broke college kid, so that's what she did. Now, an edible burrito thing, that's great. Okay, I feel like you're right. Most people don't know how to eat a burrito. That's fine. But I like the idea of let's start moving to edible, biodegradable shit, because we're already destroying the fucking earth, okay? And that is exactly why, as we were speaking, I got my phone charger and I bought edible underwear for my wife, and an extra pair in case she leaves me and I have to find somebody else, because I want to take a stand. I think this story has awoken something in me, and that's that I'm tired of waste, okay? And so that's what we're gonna go. Have you ever eaten edible underwear, by the way?
Edible underwear?
Disgusting, dude. It tastes like fucking plastic.
What is that? What is edible underwear?
Wait, you don't know what? God, you're such a fucking vanilla son of a bitch. So edible underwear is like basically fruit roll-up shaped panties.
Why the hell would I want to eat that after I wear that? That would be disgusting.
You don't wear it. I mean, you can if you want. I mean, I'm not judging you. You can do high heels and thongs if you want, but it's like a thong that's made out of like strawberry, whatever, and you can like eat it if you want.
Why would I want that?
Just to say you did it.
Wait, hold on. Like, you mean, is it like a, wait, hold on. Let me understand this. Is it like, are they little? Or is it like a little bag of like tiny little underwear shape?
No, it's just think of a fruit by the foot, right? Remember fruit roll up?
Yeah, I know fruit roll up.
Okay,
fruit by the
think
foot,
about
all
that. And now take a band around and a band under here, right? Like a thong. She puts that on, and then you go down on her, and as you're, because here's the thing, right? This is something you may not know, but women often need a little prep time. Okay, you need to preheat the oven before you get going. Okay, and sometimes we as men just kind of like just jump in the gun because we don't really need all that. So while you're down there, you're eating on you're kissing and eating up the underwear. It can get some people warmed up. Now I don't know. I've never personally worn those, and I don't know if there's anything that gets up inside anywhere or any problems like that. But that's the thing. Why are we having this conversation, Jesus
dude? That
Christ.
doesn't. You talking about you preheat the oven? You melt the fruit roll up?
No, I meant you. God, how are you married? Oh my God, how desperate was she? What I mean by preheat the oven is, see, this is the thing.
Apparently.
Here's the thing. Okay, I mean preheat is in women don't get they're not like us where we just get horny and we're ready to go. Like they need a little pre-gaming, okay, a little foreplay, a little warming up the oven to get them a little lubricated. You know what I'm saying?
You mean like a metaphorical? You're talking a metaphorical oven, but a literal fruit.
No,
by
I
the
was
foot.
talking about women being literal ovens. Yes,
You're talking about a literal fruit roll up that is underwear. So that's not figurative. So I'm just trying to figure out what's figurative, what's literal here. The
when
oven's
I say women
figurative.
need a little, they're like ovens. They need a little preheating, and you're like, do you mean literal?
Okay, so the oven is fake. The fruit by the foot the fruit roll up underwear is real.
They have powder, like little fruit flavored powder you can throw down there if they have a little. Never mind,
Dude. All that. Show. Listen, yeah, you're damn right. I'm vanilla. I don't need anything out of the ordinary. Just give me.
It's not about you.
Yeah, this situation
That's your
doesn't
problem,
require.
Alex.
This situation doesn't require anything out of the ordinary. And honestly, neither. Just look at this burrito thing. Look at this little strip right here. This little blue thing.
Is it made out of seaweed? I'm assuming it's probably made out of seaweed.
Probably. Let's see what the article says. It says 4 U.S. engineering students were brainstorming the perfect invention for their product design course when lunch inspiration literally fell into their laps. Oh, this is some sensational story about how they don't know how to eat a burrito. Listen, man. I'm a burrito snob, so we're gonna walk down this path, and I'm just gonna sound like the most freaking
a burrito snob. What the fuck?
I'm gonna walk down this path and be the most highfalutin that I can be as far as
let's go ahead and get on your soapbox. Food. Get on your high horse.
Burritos are incredible. Burritos are portable. Burritos are the perfect lunch. Okay. Put them in the silver, in the aluminum foil.
Anything is a burrito as long as you put it in a tortilla.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay. The contents.
Are you okay with what? Is there anything that's off limits for a burrito?
No, anything can go in your burrito. I'm not judging what you want to eat. What I'm saying is,
how are you a purist?
The format, man. Don't mess around with the burrito bowl. Don't mess around with anything weird. Just eat a burrito, learn how to fold it, make sure it's nice and tight, and it's perfect. It's portable. It holds
I can stick mushroom, Skittles, shrimp, and kale, wrap it up, and as long as I'm not using a thing to keep it together, it's fine.
You're asking me for an opinion on something qualitative, which is your taste buds.
No, what you're saying is I don't care what's in the burrito as long as there's nothing holding it together.
There is an observable sort of quantitative metric here of the structural integrity of your burrito. That's what I'm assessing. And not the qualitative assessment.
Podcast is white man yells about Mexican food. Go ahead.
Put anything you want, man. Your Skittles and your mushrooms. That's not Mexican food, Skittles and mushrooms.
I didn't say mushrooms. That's disgusting. Mushrooms don't go in a burrito.
You can eat anything you want in a burrito. I'm not here to judge. But what I am going to say is don't give up, man. When the integrity of your burrito starts to be compromised, don't give up. Don't assume failure and get this weird blue tape.
I feel like we're reaching here.
Better.
I feel like we're reaching here.
Get better every time. Learn how to fold it. Do you fold your own burritos?
If I cook them, obviously.
That's what I mean. Have you ever folded your own burritos?
No, I just eat it as a torta. I'm too afraid to roll. Of course, I've rolled my own fucking burritos.
Yeah, you roll them tight.
It's not a burrito if it's not rolled. So how did I eat a burrito?
And then you take the front flap and you take that, fold it over the contents of the burrito, and then pinch it tight, and then roll the rest. And then there you go. You won't need this blue tape.
Some people like to fold first and then roll. Some people like to roll, fold, and then roll. I personally like to do the first roll, then fold, and then finish the roll. I don't like to do the fold and roll all the way, because my problem is then what happens is if you do the fold first and then roll it over, now you just have one flap from disaster, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you hold the burrito, it's wet, right? There's juicy meat, that the integrity of that flap can fall out. It's over. I like to take the ingredients, do one tight roll, then flap, then roll the rest.
That's also good too. This right here is you're showing that signs of how to get it done properly. You didn't just give up the first time that it went wrong.
It's not about giving up. It's about convenience and stuff like that, right? Like, there have been times where someone else rolled my burrito and I put it on a plate and did something, and by the time I got to it, it fucking fell open because it was overstuffed, right? Like, you go to Chipotle, they overstuff it, and sometimes the goddamn thing busts open. This is just saying, hey, we're going to do this so that en route to wherever you're going, because the proper way to do a burrito, just so you're aware, is as soon as you are done making it, is to wrap it in tinfoil so it keeps that nice warm heat in there, keeps the burrito soft, keeps it all there, and it fuses everything together. But oftentimes you get a burrito, you get it in parchment paper, you get it somewhere else, and you have to travel to a location, whether it's your seat, whether it's your house, or whatever. In that case, the bumping and all that heavy, it can bust open the burrito thing if it's overstuffed. So I can actually see a situation where a burrito little like thing actually works.
At the end of the day, I don't give a shit. If you like this,
you do give a shit. You just went on a 10-minute rant about the integrity of a fucking burrito.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I actually don't give a shit though. Take your tasty tape.
Oh, okay.
It's called
Suck that copium in.
It's at the end of the day, this is called Tasty Tape. If you guys want to check it out, this is a new product that's apparently coming to market. They say that they've tested about
Alex learned about edible underwear today. 50
different formulations before finding the winning Tasty Tape recipe. Yeah, bro, what the hell, man? I ain't gonna eat nothing. No,
I've only done it once, and it was disgusting. It tasted like petroleum-based strawberry. It was horrible.
I don't need that. If I want a fruit roll-up, I'm gonna go have a fruit roll-up. All right, I'm not gonna say, hey, honey, what do you say we have a fruit roll-up? Like, that's not what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna go to the fridge or go to the pantry.
Mel, if you end up listening to this, I'm so sorry. We'll get him one day.
The exact ingredients are a closely guarded secret due to a pending patent application, but the team says everything used is edible, food safe, generally recognized as safe, and are common food ingredients or additives. So
I don't like I don't like that line. Generally recognized as safe.
Yeah, I mean, what about specifically? Can we specifically talk about if this is gonna fuck with you and give you cancer, or are we just gonna generally say, yeah, your body can probably digest that? I'm with you.
I'm not. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for me. But whatever. It is what it is. So everybody's into their own thing. Some people are into that. Some people like that. Some people want to take a stand. You're taking a stand against that. Some people want to take a stand against climate change by throwing cakes at priceless paintings.
According to the AP News, a man in a wig has thrown a cake at glass that is protecting the Mona Lisa. The infamous, painting, whatever, that everyone loves, is supposed to be like the most expensive painting in the world.
Would you really use the word infamous to describe the Mona Lisa?
Is it not infamous? You wouldn't say it's infamous?
Oh, I wouldn't say infamous. I mean, I feel like infamous would be, famous for bad reasons or for dark reasons. Why is it infamous?
Infamous says well known for some bad quality or deed.
There you go. That's what I just said. Yeah.
Abominable. Bro, I didn't know that's what infamous meant, man. I thought it just meant like
God,
I thought it meant like I thought infamous meant
famous? Like infamous.
No, I thought it meant like famous, but like with no
infamous
threat
is just
of
like
being
you're
not famous. Like you're forever famous.
Infamous means you're famous for a bad reason.
Yeah, so the Mona Lisa is just famous. Unless there's any bad. Did the Mona Lisa do anything bad?
No, unless you like the Da Vinci Code guy.
No, I didn't. I mean, that movie was okay, but it wasn't good enough for me to watch it ever again. It came out in what, like 2009? I watched it one time. It was fine.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was just too, like, it was so stupid that like this crazy thing, people are dying and they go get some random professor for this, and instead of just asking him what they mean, like, why is he on this fucking trip and why is he running from these people and people are trying to kill him? Like, dude, you don't do that. The goddamn Interpol doesn't go and get some fucking dusty ass book professor who knows symbols to come come on a goddamn chase around the world of death and all that stuff. You go to them and say, hey, what do these symbols mean? Oh, that's what it is. Cool. We'll zoom you later if we find more. That's it. That should have been the movie. But no, Robert fucking Langdon, whatever. Sorry, I'm going to get in a rant here, but whatever. So what happened was this guy is wanting to protest. And you know what? It worked. I was thinking to myself when I first read the story, I'm like, what an idiot. You know that this shit's behind glass. You get in a wig, women's clothes, in a wheelchair, roll in a cake. How did somebody not find a fucking cake? I don't know about that. And then you throw it at the Mona Lisa. I'm thinking to myself, this guy's an idiot. What a waste of cake. You know, you're not gonna actually damage it. Who cares? But then I realized how much people are fucking talking about it. So I guess well played.
So it says the Paris prosecutor's office said Monday the 36-year-old man was detained following Sunday's incident and sent to a police psychiatric unit. An investigation has been opened to the damage of cultural artifacts. Yeah, like Saki said, this guy disguised as an old woman in a wheelchair threw that piece of cake at the glass protecting the Mona Lisa. I
was hoping it would actually get on the painting and they would commission that lady from that little church in Spain to fix it.
Wait, he shouted.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
We talked about what you're talking about a few.
The monkey Jesus thing.
Yeah, exactly. The monkey Jesus. That made that painting way more valuable, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think that would work with the Mona Lisa though.
This says that this guy shouted at people to think of planet Earth.
He was protesting like climate change and all that.
Videos posted on social media show a young man in a wig and lipstick who had arrived in a wheelchair. The man, whose identity was unknown, was also seen throwing roses in the museum gallery to slack-jawed guests. The cake attack left a conspicuous white creamy smear on the glass, but the famous work by Leonardo da Vinci wasn't damaged. All for protesting the environment.
It works. I mean, listen, everybody protests in their own way. You know, obviously, you know, regardless of where you stand on the issue of climate change, it's pretty obvious to know that we're destroying the planet in so many ways, because you just have to look at masks. I mean, look what happened with masks, right? Like everybody's mask just ended up in the ocean. Like everything just always ends up in the ocean. It's fucking sad. And I live in Florida, so I see the damage here. But like, you know, like I said, I'm not here to debate climate change and if it's natural cycles in the earth or if it's people or whatever. But as far as pollution, there's no denying that. I mean, look at the pollution everywhere. Look at how many animals are dying. I mean, look at these. It's disgusting. Like I used to not really care about it much or think about it, but then I saw videos of like people in Amazon and in Southeast Asia don't have regulations, just dumping bottles of plastic and fucking rubber. That's the
real core of it. Is like that is the industrialization of that part of the world is the part that is leaving the most impact globally. You know what I mean? It's like there's only so much you can do in a country that's trying. Like this is a global problem, not just a local, regional problem. So you try to do whatever you can here and use metal straws and whatever. But like that entire part of the world that's being industrialized, man, that carbon footprint that's being left is very, very large.
Yeah, it's jacked. It's really jacked. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like there's no coming back. You know what I mean? Like, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't do anything, but at the same time, it's like, it's now about damage control rather than reversal at this point. And that trash patch in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're trying to develop ways of like cleaning it up. So like all that, a lot of it just ends up in this thing. It's like the size of Texas, right? Like there's just this patch of garbage floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the size of Texas. Like it's insane to think that there's that much trash, and that's just what's floated. That's not what's at the bottom of the sea or washed up on shores and shit. It's bad. It's really bad. And like I said, I'm not here to have a fucking political exchange about it, but there's no denying that we are just trashing this earth.
At some point, do you suppose that our species needs to become like multi-planetary, the way that Elon Musk talks about?
It'll be too late by the time we actually get there, because you're talking, you got to find a planet, you've got to set up a space station. By the time you get there, it's so long, people are going to die. There's going to be biological changes. You can't have children, so you got to just listen. I'm very much, without being that guy, I'm very much a believer that the Earth and the human race, the species, or whatever you want to call it, is in a parasite-host relationship. And in the end, there's only one way that ends, okay? Parasitic relationship. Either the parasite kills the host or the host kills the parasite. And you're not going to kill the Earth, okay? The Earth has been through way too much shit.
I would assume that the Earth is alive, though. I mean, you're dealing with elements. You're dealing with water. You're dealing with wind. You're dealing with rock. I mean, you're not talking about an organism.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because what happens is a parasite and a host, one kills the other. It's just how it is. Whether it's a living or an inanimate object,
it's going to do anything.
We can't kill the Earth.
We can't kill this planet.
We can't kill the planet. We can kill the atmosphere.
We can
kill,
ruin it for
all that.
ourselves.
But guess what? But it's not gonna. But the Earth will outlast you, because there was a time when the Earth was nothing but volcanoes and acid rain. There was a time when the Earth was just magma. There was a time when a fucking meteor hit it and wiped out 90% of the species on Earth. We are gonna not out. The Earth will outlast us always. That's what I was getting at. But the thing is that there will be a point where we destruct ourselves. The Earth will basically just
we could ruin it as a home for ourselves, which is different than a parasitic and a host relationship. That would
you're talking about living organisms as a parasitic host relationship. A host doesn't have to be something doesn't have to be alive to be a host.
Something has to be alive for it to be killed.
Yeah, we're the parasite. We're alive. We'll end up killing ourselves.
Yeah, but it's just us. Like, we're just in that situation, we're just a parasite. The host is not alive.
But it doesn't have to be. It's still a parasitic relationship. We are the parasite, so it's a parasitic relationship.
Yeah, that's why we got to start using. I mean, you know the Kardashev scale? Have you ever heard of this before? The Kardashev scale?
Yeah.
Kardashev scale is this whole idea that we as a civilization are like ranked on a scale of like 1 through 3, and or like 1 through whatever, and like our ability to survive is based on our ability to like use non-renewable energy from like our sun and that kind of stuff. So it's like we need to be moving up the Kardashev scale, so that way, you know, lunatics at the Louvre aren't throwing cake at the freaking Mona Lisa.
I actually had a talk on my stream today about renewable energies and whatnot, and how geothermal is the best option, but it's just the hardest, you know, to get and harness and utilize. But yeah, no, it's insane. We're at a point right now where it's like, you know, the people who are lucky are the people who are gonna, you know, pass on and die while we're still at our peak and not have to live through what is coming.
All right, so here's the Kardashev scale. It says Type 1 civilization.
That was a perfect transition to our next story. God damn it.
Hold on. It says the Kardashev scale. Type 1 civilization harnesses all the resources of a planet. Carl Sagan estimated that Earth rates about 0.7 on that scale. A Type 2 civilization harnesses all the radiation of a star. Humans might reach Type 2 in a few thousand years. And it says a Type 3 civilization harnesses all the resources of a galaxy. Humans might reach Type 3 in a few 100,000 to a million years. And here, I'm going to also send this to you.
Well, that MIT study from the 60s, they did like millions and millions and millions of different factors into, you know, the future of civilization. And like almost all of them, even when they factored in higher birth rates, lower birth rates, more technology, less technology, climate change, everything like that, almost all of them showed that civilization was going to like end in 2040.
Well, I mean, I guess that would also align with, you know, some other things that like some religions think. Like some religions perceive this to be the end times that we're in right now. Like, I think
they're just saying that it's unsustainable. They mostly think that it's either going to be, it's not even going to be climate change. It's just going to be birth rates, like declining birth rates. Like, we're just going to continue to work harder to support an older population, and that older population will continue to grow as we have less children because we're working more and we're having to pay more and do more. And by doing that, it actually means that we have less kids because we're working so hard, which means there's less kids to have kids, and it just becomes a thing where we just kind of collapse on ourselves.
Well, according to this article at wallstreetjournal.com, WSJ.com, it says U.S. birth rates have increased for the first time since 2014. It says pandemic baby bust was smaller than expected. U.S. births increased last year for the first time in 7 years, according to federal figures released Tuesday. American women had about 3.6 million babies in 21, up 1% from the prior year, according to provisional data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I don't have access to the full article. It's a Wall Street Journal article, but do you think that that's skewed a little bit? Like, this headline is like a little misleading, given that there was a dip during COVID?
No, it's saying it's the first time it's increased year over year.
That's what I mean.
Since then. But yeah, I think the COVID dip is skewing it. I think you're absolutely spot on with that. I think that this is completely skewed because, you know, you had so many people that didn't have it, and we had such a decline last year that it was almost like a increase. It's like when my wife, she freaks out. She's like, "Oh my god, if we have a kid after 35, they're 100% more likely. They're double the chances of having this, and this." And I'm like, "Yeah, but if you have a 1% chance at 34 and a 2% chance at 35 of your kid having some kind of
that's 100% more
disability,
likely.
It's 100% more likely. But we're still talking a 1 to 2%. You know what I mean? It's not. It's all about the percentages and how you can skew it. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's in line with the fact that there was such a decrease last year. It's kind of like saying, oh, the birth rate jumped 40% in 1946 versus 1945. Well, yeah, everybody was over there fucking, you know, getting shot up in World War II, and then they all come home and fuck. I mean,
they're fighting, and then they switched to fucking when they came over. But this article right here, it
Unless
says,
your wife got pregnant while you were over there, then that's a problem.
yeah, it's just a good thing that they didn't have any.
Jody, man.
It's a good thing that they didn't have any of the edible underwear when they came back. Otherwise, that would have been the contraception for a generation, man.
Let me tell you something. If you go to war for 5 years and you survive that, you don't have time to fuck around with underwear. Okay.
Yeah,
you
edible,
get
whatever.
You gotta get.
It says a total of this article at Vox.com says a total of 3.6 million babies were born in the U.S. in 21. That's 1% more than 3.61 babies. So it's 3.66 in 21, 3.61 in 20, which means that the natal class of 21 is now what passes for a baby boom in the United States of America. Indeed, 21 represents the first time since 14 the number of babies born in the U.S. actually increased, bouncing back from a pandemic year in 2020 that saw the largest one-year drop in births in nearly 50 years. So 2020
everybody's locked at home.
Yeah, you would have thought that meant more babies.
No, because here's the thing. How many babies are from people hooking up, right? So you've got all those babies. And then on top of that, think about it. You know, how many times, the people that are already married and have kids they're not going to have them. They're at home. And people who don't have kids, you're locked up. Yeah, sure. If you got pregnant at the beginning of COVID, that was likely, right? Like me, I knocked my wife up in March of 2020, right? Like the beginning of COVID, everybody's locked up. Let's just fuck around. Let's just bang, right? That's great. But if you didn't get pregnant at the beginning, within 6 months, you start to hate the other person because you just see them all the fucking time. And the last thing you want to do is fuck them, right? Because instead of you guys having gone all day working and then coming home and having your dinner, you just see each other all day. You smell each other. You're hearing people fart. You're seeing people. They're getting their jokes are annoying. You start banging less, and then there's less kids. I think that just makes sense.
But you're positing that sex was down during the work from home era.
I think after the initial 2 to 3 months, yes, I would say that most couples got the excited, we're home all the time, let's fuck and watch Netflix and shit out of their system, and then within a year, it's just like, I hate you. I hope you fucking die.
Yeah, well, it says the 2020 dip in births wasn't much of a surprise to demographers, despite the popular misconception that events like blizzards and blackouts that keep couples homebound inevitably lead to more babies. And 9 months later, the lockdowns of early 2020 were not particularly conducive to the conceiving of children. Surveys conducted during 2020 found that as many as a third of American women changed their reproductive plans because of the pandemic, while as many as half of American
women
adults
change their reproductive plans. That's just a nice way of saying women decided I don't want to have sex
with the guy that I'm with. So let me go find someone else. Well, and as many
I can't because I'm locked up. So there's just nobody's touching this. Yeah.
Yep, you gotta get the edible chastity belt out. While and as many as half of American adults reported a decline in their sexual activity. That's nuts, man. Half of American adults reported a decline in their sexual activity. It says that 1% increase in births in 21 stems in part from planned pregnancies delayed for a year or so until the country saw improved epidemiological and economic conditions during the later stages of the pandemic. Dude, I am a moron. I don't know how to pronounce words like that, so...
That's okay. But just so you're aware, though, not only did everybody after the first couple months get over it, but then when the stimulus checks dried up and everybody started going unemployed, now you can't afford to have a kid. You're under stress. You can't have kids. And then after a year of it, we actually ended up seeing something like 54% of every adult 30 years and younger was living, like every person in America 30 years and under, 54% of them were living at home. It was like the highest since like the 50s or something like that. And you ain't banging around when mom and dad are in the next room.
You said 100%, 54% of 100% of those people?
54% of people 30 and under were living at home by the halfway point of the pandemic.
Oh, I gotcha. I saw a crazy stat during it. I mean, but also, dude, like who knows where these stats come from, man? Like that's like
I think something like 92% of all stats are made up.
It's like what Bill Burr says. He goes arguing now in a bar is just so boring because two people like in a bar like 30 years ago, it was just whoever was louder and more drunk won the argument. But now it's like both people just whip out their phone and they go to www.imright.com and they just find some bullshit stat that helps their argument. And then boom, that's the argument. So I mean, I don't know what to believe, man, as far as all these stats. I've heard so many people tell me in both situations say, oh, the masks were bullshit. They didn't do anything. Like they didn't do anything. It was just a political thing that the Democrats wanted to wield for their game.
Liberals.
But then on the other end, I've heard, I guess liberal people, conservatives would make me think that it's all liberals that like masks. But I've heard people say, oh, the masks impacted, death rates, negatively, which is a positive thing, but saying, oh, it impacted the death rate, in certain areas, great. So I mean, like we have more people lived as a result of the mask. I don't know what to believe, man. Where the hell do you go to get information that's kosher? Where do you go?
Any stat can be skewed. I mean, we've talked about it before with gun stats. Like you can finger, not finger, Jesus fucking Christ. You can, what was the word? Now I can't even think of the word I was thinking of.
Now you're just thinking about fingering through that edible underwear. Yeah, man. I don't know what to believe. And it happens all the time nowadays. It happens all the time. You go out to eat with someone, or you're catching up with someone on the phone, or you're on a Zoom call, like people are talking, and inevitably some pandemic related statistic will enter the atmosphere, enter the ether, and then you got to reconcile it in your mind. You're like, am I going to believe that? Or am I just going to say, that's bullshit, and I'm just going to keep going? And like,
I find that a lot being with what I do as a streamer, especially with money and finance. Like a lot of people look to me as like an authority on stuff just because I have an audience, and I have to be very, very careful how I articulate stuff. And I try to be aware of it, but sometimes I just kind of like go off and I have to catch myself. And the good thing is that sometimes people will correct me in chat, and I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, you're just fuck you. I'll be like, okay, thank you for pointing that out, because I'm going on a rant here, because I have that problem, and some of the numbers, even the numbers I give, even if they are correct, they're correct based on what? On one study, on one economic, theory, on one, economist, number crunching. Like it's very difficult, I mean, look at unemployment numbers, for example, right? Like they'll say the unemployment rate is 3.2%, and that's great, but it's skewed because it's only accounts for people that are actively looking for work. So people who early retire, people that leave the workforce, whatever, aren't counted. So you could have as many as 10% of the population out of the workforce that's working age, but they retired early or they just stopped looking for work, and they don't count. So you never know. Like, I mean, you can look at numbers any way you want it. Like my wife and I got into a conversation this weekend about shootings, right? We talked about, and not to get into it too much, but we talked about, obviously what happened in Texas, and we have a kid now and stuff like that. And she said, I'm worried this, and that, and she has every right to be. But I said, it doesn't comfort people if I put this stat out there. I said, but even though this is really bad and we want to see change in one way or another, and we want to, whatever, I said, understand something though. It's not as scary. It's not, you obviously as a parent, you're going to worry, but it's not as big of a worry as we think in our head, because, and I'll give it to you here,
you're just talking about like the rate of it. You're trying to say that it's not like
here's
it's
the thing,
not like 20% of schools or something.
I think something like I don't know, but here you go. There are 131,000 public schools in America, right? And I'm not talking colleges. Let's just take public schools, okay? And if you take that and you take 131,000, okay, and there are what? 250 school days, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so that means you times 250 school days. That means there are 32,750 instances every year where a mass shooting could occur in a school, right? And I'm not downplaying it at all. I'm just saying
you're talking about the rate. You're talking about the rate of a mass shooting.
That means if there are four too many, but four mass shootings at a school in America a year, that means it's 1 in 9 million chance that you are going to be a part of that, right? And so when you start breaking down those numbers, you look at, the chances of you getting hit by a drunk driver, right? It's like 1 in 100,000 or something like that. Your chances of dying from a snake bite are like 1 in like 4 million or something like that. So it's very difficult to quantify and to compare statistical numbers to actual, human nature and feelings. Like, for example, I have a daughter now, and she's going to go to school. And so obviously now, even though this is something I didn't grow up worrying about, I, as a parent, am concerned about these things. This isn't something any parent should be concerned about, right? You shouldn't be concerned about the safety of your kid. And even me as a numbers guy looking at this number, that doesn't help my psyche, right? That there's still a concern there. But if I step away from it and look at the numbers, and we were talking about stats being, what they are, the stats are, it's a 1 in 9 million chance, which is way too high, but still, that's so astronomically small that it's not something that you think about on a daily basis unless you're a parent, right? So it just changes up a lot of things there.
Yeah.
And when I brought this number up, it pissed a lot of people off because they don't want to hear that. And I wasn't trying to convince them, oh, everything's fine, whatever. whatever. I was just saying, as from a statistical numbers, it's crazy. For example,
well, your wife has an MBA, so she understands. I mean, no doubt that was not like an angle or whatever that fell on deaf ears. She understands. She's been through those stat classes, those statistics classes or whatever. Like,
well, here you go. The chances of someone in America dying in a car wreck is 1 in 102.
The chances of an American dying in a car wreck?
Somebody in America, the lifetime odds of an American dying in a car accident are 1 in 105 back in 2019.
Wow, dude, that's actually a lot higher than you would think.
The chances
if you would have asked me to guess, I would have probably said 1 in
1 in 9 million. You see what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying, like I said, once again, for some reason, people get really caught up with this when I talk about it. I'm not saying that, oh, it's no big deal. But what I'm getting at is that from a statistical standpoint, right? Even if you were to take all school shootings, most school shootings that are counted are just a gang-related shooting across the street that hits the school. But let's say you had 100, right? 100 school shootings in America in a year, right? That's 100 out of 32 million instances, right? So you're talking about what? 1 in 320,000. 1 in 320,000. But dying in a car wreck, and I'm not even talking about killed dying in a car wreck, 1 in 105, right? So you're 1,000 or 1,000 times more likely, or 3,000 times more likely to die in a car accident than that. So I'm saying, when you break down statistics,
1 in 105 people in America die from a car accident.
The odds of dying in a car accident.
I'm just gonna take that stat and say it a different way. 1 in 105 people die from a car accident. Is that what am I reading that right?
Let me see here. It says every year, tens of thousands of people across the U.S. are killed in an automobile accident. There's a lot of people that die in car accidents, so I don't think we realize it. In the 2019 report by the National Safety Council, the lifetime odds of an American dying in a car wreck are roughly 1 in 107. That makes sense because you got to think of how many people are born and die and cycle through the life. That means that every person in the country with a driver's license and a functional vehicle has about almost a 1% chance of ending up as a victim of a driving-related accident. I don't know why they said accident and then death. By comparison, the odds of dying in a slip and fall accident are 1 in 107. The odds of succumbing to an opioid overdose are 1 in 92, and the odds of dying by suicide are a troubling 1 in 88.
I wonder if that's saying
heart disease and cancer remain the leading cause of deaths, carrying 1 in 6 people will die of heart disease and 1 in 7 will die of cancer.
That's got to be saying on any annual basis, 1% of the deaths can be attributed to a car accident. It's got to be what it's saying.
That would make sense. There's a lot of people that die from car accidents.
Yeah, but also I don't think that is different than saying, you have a 1% chance of dying in a car accident if you're driving. Like, I don't feel like that's any different unless, no, actually, that is different because the amount of drivers on the road on an annual basis is different than the total number of deaths in a given year. You have more drivers on the road than deaths. So I get what you're saying, but this is my point, is that stats should be a good stat gets you to ask questions afterwards, not say I have the answer. Like statistics, the way that good statistics are designed, not the misleading ones that you see on Fox News or on CNN or whatever, the ones that the way that they love to skew data and show you just a peak of a graph versus the whole thing, like just the way that.
Oh yeah, it's so easy. You can make a narrative on anything.
Oh my God, absolutely. But good stats, and this is what I was taught as far as in my MBA program. So I'm assuming this is probably what your wife was also taught. It's a good stat gets you to ask questions after the fact, not say, "Oh look, I have the answer." But so many people treat stats by saying, "Oh, look, I have the answer." I love you guys
flexing your MBA to a guy who doesn't even have a bachelor's.
I'm making the connection.
Fucking associates at 35.
I'm making the connection from the fact that you had this discussion with your wife who has an MBA. So it's like,
yeah, but that doesn't mean that remember, and if you get in the political arena, they'll love it. Well, it's facts over feelings or whatever. But it's a different conversation when you have a child and you're worried about them being shot in a school. Like, I mean, that throws the normal cognizant, the ability to just be able to absorb these numbers and look at it from a statistical standpoint, that goes out the window when you have a child or when you actually can be affected by it.
But listen, you also said 4 too many, and that's 100% right. Like, just like Just like when you said, oh, look, it's more likely that you die from a drunk driver. Well, guess what? We're doing things constantly to try to limit the amount of drunk drivers that are on the road, and we're trying to do things.
Well, we make it illegal after the fact.
That's
we
what I
don't
mean.
Ban alcohol.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's
that's
like shooting a school is illegal, but we don't ban the gun. So I'm not here to have this argument because it's not really an argument. I mean, there's whatever.
No.
But what I'm saying is that once again, you can skew those numbers one way or the other. You can try to say, yeah, but we try to limit the amount of people that get in and behind a vehicle and get drunk when we don't try to limit this and that and that. And I'm like, yeah, but there's the other argument where, well, then ban alcohol so that way nobody can be drunk when they're driving because it's already illegal. Because somebody who's doing something illegal isn't thinking about the repercussions at the time, or they don't care because
you can't ban
whatever.
But you can't ban alcohol because too many people want it. Too many people. You can't come out and say, oh, alcohol is gone forever. Too many people want it. Now, if everybody in the world decided to say, hey, now we don't want alcohol, now you wouldn't have drunk drivers. If everyone in the world just said, hey, listen, we're okay with no alcohol, stop manufacturing it, stop creating moonshine, stop doing the bathtub whiskey or whatever.
A black market for everything. I'll give you an example. And this is just a true stat that came out. So this weekend, Justin Trudeau announced that his party was going to freeze all sales of handguns, and they're going to make handguns illegal to buy or sell in Canada. Well, the crazy thing about that, and this is just something that I just thought was really interesting, was that his party had originally wanted to do this. In Canada, it's so goddamn difficult to get a handgun. It's like you have to have a special reason. You have to go through a paperwork process, and you have to go through it has to go through a thing. It's like a year and a half to get a handgun, and even then, it's very difficult. So his party did a study for 2 years to see, would it have any effect to do a ban? And it turned out that only like 0.01% of all homicides in Canada were done by legally owned handguns, right? And it turned out that they put the ban on the shelf because they're like, well, it's not going to have any difference, it's not going to have any impact, right? Well, after this shooting, they decided, we're going to do it anyways. And it turns out that almost all of homicides and murders are done by guns that are smuggled illegally from the United States over to Canada.
Your point is that there's always going to be a black market for everything. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I can't speak to any sort of figures or anything.
I was talking more along the lines of alcohol because of prohibition.
Yeah. I mean, prohibition's obviously that everyone can point to prohibition and said, look, no one stopped. But what do we know? We weren't alive in the 20s. We weren't alive in the 20s.
I mean, it happens today with the war on drugs. Drugs are illegal, and we see. Look at how much of the violence in America. Because we always talk about the mass shootings for obvious reasons, but look at Chicago. Look at these Detroit. I mean, every weekend there's 50 people shot and killed, right? But nobody cares about it because it's like it's gangs and stuff. But why is it there? Why are the cartels running so much? Why is there so much drugs and violence, stuff like that? Like, look at countries like Portugal, right, where they made drugs not legal but not illegal, and they actually gave where you could switch out your needles for clean needles, so they stopped all kinds of diseases and they let people do it. It's not like if you make heroin legal tomorrow, everyone's going to go do heroin, right? So we actually get to see it. Our country spends like $1 trillion a year on, well, let's say $500 billion a year on the war on drugs, and that goes to waste. And then we spend another $500 billion a year on keeping those people incarcerated. So there's $1 trillion a year. And the amount of people that die, then the black market, then the violence, the amount of kids that die in the street or become gang members. There's so much that happens because we have a modern day prohibition. So once again, not having to have a political argument, I'm just giving, both looks at this. And it's very hard to separate that when we're talking about something that's so polarizing and people are so passionate about.
Really great conversation today. We didn't expect the hard shift into
is it already over?
Into this realm. But really good convo on it. Really good. I mean, I hope for all y'all that listened, you guys had found this insightful in some way, shape, or form. Not a lot of hard takes here, just a lot of unfortunate observation around a pretty shitty topic. Hard shifting as we get ready for the outro. Forbes posted the most valuable team values for sports franchises in the world. They've updated. They always update this like every year. The Dallas Cowboys, $6.5 billion is what they were valued at. The New York Yankees, $6 billion. New York Knicks,
never winning a playoff game and being worth everything.
New York Knicks, $5.8 billion. Golden State Warriors, $5.6 billion, and the LA Lakers, $5.5. To me, the story is the Golden State Warriors overtaking the Lakers. We all saw this coming. We all saw this coming. This is the byproduct of
And
good
you wonder
culture
why
and good
these
coaching.
guys get paid so much. I mean, look at how much value Steph Curry and team and company have brought to a franchise. Like
the average,
when you look at how much he's paid versus how much increase in value of that franchise because of him, drop in the bucket.
this franchise has doubled in value since he's been there. I actually think it's been more than double. I think it was maybe only worth, like, by their estimation, somewhere between 800 million and 1.2 billion when he got there, and now it's worth 5.6 billion. Bro, Golden State
Look
Warriors.
what Jordan did to the
Bulls, man.
I mean,
the average football team is worth 3.4 billion. The average soccer team, this says of 20 teams, there's way more than 20 teams, says 2.5 billion. It says the average basketball team is worth 2.48 billion. Baseball's the average is 2, and then the average hockey team is worth 0.8 billion, aka $860 million. Then they also published the players, the highest paid athletes. So that was what I have pulled up right now is a post from Boardroom on Instagram. But this right here on Forbes itself, it says the world's highest paid athletes. Let's see if we can get through this list. Let's see if we can scroll through this. It says number 1 is Lionel Messi at 130 million. We just talked about him coming down to Miami. He's going to be playing.
the guy from Portugal, right?
Yeah, no, Argentina.
Oh, okay.
I think Lionel Messi's from Argentina. I think Ronaldo is from.
Cares.
LeBron is worth 121 million. He's number 2. Ronaldo, who you just talked about from Portugal, is from worth 115. Neymar, I shouldn't say worth. I think this is what he earned that year. 95 million. Steph Curry, 92.8 million. Yeah, this is earnings on a yearly basis because it breaks it down. It says Steph Curry made 45 million on field, 47 million off the field. After that, Kevin Durant at number 6, 92 million. Roger Federer, number 7 at 90 million. Canelo Alvarez, I don't know him, number 8 at 90 million, but I don't know fighters. Sports boxing. Brady, 83.9 million at number 9. And Giannis, 80.9 million at number 10. Brady signed that massive deal, 375 million for 10 years, as soon as he wants to exercise his right to go be in that broadcasting booth at Fox and broadcast football for 37.5 million a year. Right now, he's making 31.9 million a year on the field. He's
Such
literally
a great job to have.
He's literally going to get a pay increase from 31.9 million to just go watch people play versus actually play. You know how quickly 99.9% of us would be off the field and go up into that booth? Say, hey, I don't have to get hit.
Yeah, but everybody says that, but it's like people say to me, Stocky, why don't you stop trading stocks live and just talk about it? It'd be so much less stress and it'd be so much more fun. But then I miss, like, I'm in the game, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy the chase. I enjoy the puzzle putting. It's like, it's who I am. It's what I do, you know? Like, I enjoy that part of it. And, you know.
I get it, man. Listen, I get it. It's like Jurassic Park. They don't want the T-Rex doesn't want his food just given to him. He wants the hunt. He wants the thrill of the hunt. But I don't think he would mind if toilet paper was given to him. Somehow, this is your rant right now. Saki's got some sort of rant.
Oh, no, why it's my rant? I'm going to send you a picture, Alex. I'm going to send you a picture. Okay?
A picture to pull up on the podcast?
I don't care if you pull it up or not, but this is my rant, and I'm going to send you a picture. Do you see that picture?
Yeah, I see this picture. Let me pull this
I
up.
want you to pull that picture up. What do you see in that picture?
A single ply.
Single ply. Can you see my fingers?
I can see your fingers through because this is single ply toilet paper.
I stayed at an Airbnb this week
That had single ply toilet paper?
Single ply toilet paper. Okay, let me tell you something right here. Okay, I get that we're all trying to save a buck. We're all trying to make a little extra money on this. But when I'm paying $250 a night and I have to pay a $200 cleaning fee, even though I leave the house in good shape and we're only there for a day and a half, you provide me with single ply fucking toilet paper? Okay, if I wipe my ass and my finger goes through that toilet paper and I've got shit on my finger, I want a refund. Okay, there is no way in hell you have an Airbnb and you provide single ply toilet paper. Single ply toilet paper should not fucking exist. Now, I know you're probably going to say, well, Stocky, just fold it over a few times and it's multiple ply. No, because toilet paper is single ply and there's friction, I don't get a good wipe because now the layers are rubbing and now it's all kind of fucking, it's not a good good experience. Sure, I may be a snob. I get that cottonelle ribbed shit, whatever, for my asshole pleasure. I don't care. But let me tell you something. You do not, and I honestly should. I never write bad reviews on Airbnb. I'm always really good. I always try to communicate with the person ahead of time. But I feel like I'm gonna leave them a good review for their place. But I'm docking them a star for this. You cannot, in this day and age, give someone single ply toilet paper. You lose a star for that. I know you people like to bring their own toilet paper and do all that stuff. You cannot. This isn't
No one
a
brings
fucking
their own
prison.
toilet paper to an Airbnb. No one brings their own damn.
I'm gonna have to
toilet
start
paper.
doing it because I didn't think that I would be sitting down on a toilet, reaching over and seeing my hand through the fucking toilet paper I'm about to wipe my ass with and say, please don't let my hand get shit on it.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. This was episode 27 of the Stock Guy and Alex Show, guys. This is the podcast that covers topics around the world, business, news, markets, money, sports. People are talking about it. Stocky and I talk about it. Whether or not it's as serious as some shit going on in the news or single-ply toilet paper, Stocky and I are going to be right here covering all this. You can listen to this.
Serious about a different kind of shit.
You can watch this. You can listen to this. All of this on YouTube and Spotify. And also, guys, follow the show on all the different socials. Stocky, last bit before we get them on out of here.
What do you mean last bit?
Do you have anything to say? Goodbye. Do you have anything that you want to say? Tune in next week. Say
well,
thanks
next
for
week
listening.
we gotta do it on Monday because I'm going to New York City on Tuesday.
All right, so we record early in the week next week on Monday.
Okay. But yeah, that's all I've really got. Was there anything else I had?
Nope. Toilet paper. That's it,
No?
my man.
Okay, I gotta go play with my kid anyways.
Everybody, enjoy your week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.